Beneath the surface of what looks like chaos, Expressionism holds a secret history. This story is about spiritual messages, artists who could hear colors, and revolutionaries who created an entirely new visual language. They were motivated to paint the invisible and to put pure human feeling onto a canvas. Their work did not simply bend the rules of art, it changed history forever. We explore 9 of these influential artists and the artworks that define their contribution. For centuries, art was concerned with painting the visible world, such as a person, a place, or a bowl of fruit. As the 19th century turned into the 20th, a new idea took hold about the purpose of art. Artists began to explore how art could represent the things we feel but cannot see. This was the beginning of Expressionism, a revolution that rewrote the rules of the art world. We will trace this movement from its quiet, mystical origins to its loud and brilliant heights, meeting the men and women who risked their careers for a new way of seeing. Russian artist Wassily Kandinsky suffered from the condition synesthesia, meaning he experienced senses in a different way. He could hear colors and see sounds. This condition became the foundation of his artistic philosophy. He believed colors could act like musical notes, affecting the soul directly and creating emotional vibrations. His work Composition 4 is a key moment in this mission. At first, it looks like a complex arrangement of clashing colors and lines. With a closer look, a story begins to appear. On the left, one can make out 2 Cossacks with sabers, suggesting conflict. On the right, figures relax on a calm blue hill where a castle sits, representing peace. A rainbow arcs over the entire scene, a symbol of hope. Kandinsky was conducting a visual symphony, using color and form to guide the viewer through a powerful emotional state. The German artist Franz Marc was a key partner in Kandinsky's Blue Rider group. He sought spiritual truth through the inner lives of animals. He believed animals were purer beings who possessed a more direct connection to the universe, and he wanted to paint the world through their eyes. To do this, he developed a color theory where different hues carried specific emotional and spiritual weight. Blue represented the masculine and the spiritual, yellow was feminine joy, and red stood for the brutal force of matter. His iconic painting Blue Horse 1 illustrates this vision. The horse, a symbol of spiritual breakthrough for Marc, is painted in a deep, powerful blue to show its connection to a higher, non-material world. Its form is simplified and strong, and it seems to exist in a landscape of fiery reds and joyful yellows. Marc was not painting a horse. He was painting the spiritual energy of a horse, using color as a direct line to a reality beyond our own. Before we continue, I want to mention our free PDF guide, Talk About Art with Confidence. It's for everyone who feels a bit insecure talking about art, and will provide hands-on examples of how you can analyze art in simple steps and feel more sure of yourself to spark a conversation about art. It suits everyone who are curious about art, but might feel a lack of confidence in visiting galleries, talking to artists and art experts, etc. You can find it in the description below. At the same time in Germany, another group of young radicals called Die Brücke, or The Bridge, were pulling art into the modern age with intensity. Their leader, Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, wanted to create an art that was as raw, jarring, and potent as modern city life itself. The Die Brücke artists rejected academic training. They used distorted forms, clashing colors, and a crude, direct style to express the alienation and nervous energy of the metropolis. Kirchner's Painting Street, Berlin, places the viewer in the chaotic heart of the city. The canvas is a storm of sharp angles and acidic colors. 2 women with mask-like faces and feathered hats become predatory symbols of this new anonymous urban world. The perspective is tilted and claustrophobic, the figures elongated and jagged. Kirshner is not just showing a scene, he is making the viewer feel the psychological tension of modern life, creating a powerful allegory for a society he saw as both electrifying and deeply unsettling. While the German expressionists looked outward to the city, the Austrian artist Egon Schiele turned his gaze inward, creating some of the most psychologically raw and confrontational portraits in art history. Schiele was a protégé of Gustav Klimt, but he broke from his mentor's decorative style and developed a language of twisted bodies, sharp lines, and uncovered emotion. His main subject was the human figure, often himself, stripped bare to expose its deepest anxieties, desires, and fears. The painting Self-Portrait with Chinese Lantern Plant is a prime example of this approach. At just 22, Schiele presents himself with a mix of confidence and vulnerability. His body is cropped and angled, his gaze is intense, and his torso and face are rendered with expressive agitated brushstrokes. The angular, almost pained tilt of his head and shoulders creates an incredible tension. Schiele was not painting what he looked like, but what it felt like to be him, using his own body as a canvas for the turbulent landscape of the human psyche. Swiss-German artist Paul Klee is a unique example connecting Expressionism, Cubism, and Surrealism. Klee was a musician who often practiced violin before painting, and he saw art and music as deeply connected, believing color could be orchestrated like a symphony to create harmony and rhythm. After teaching at the famous Bauhaus school alongside Kandinsky, he developed a highly personal visual language made of symbols, signs, and poetic lines to explore the world of dreams and the subconscious. His famous work, Twittering Machine, represents his strange and wonderful vision. It shows a bizarre contraption where 4 bird-like creatures are perched on a crank, their heads lolling back as if singing. The line is delicate and scratchy, like a child's drawing, but the scene has a dark, eerie undertone, suggesting both a music box and a torture device. This blend of the playful and the unsettling is pure Klee. He is not painting reality, but creating a machine that generates poetry, inviting us into a world where logic gives way to imagination. After the clean geometric order of Mondrian, American art took a messy, chaotic turn. In the aftermath of World War II, a new movement called Abstract Expressionism exploded out of New York City, and its most famous figure was Jackson Pollock. Known for his intense life and rebellious streak, Pollock changed both the definition of a painting and the method of its creation. He famously threw his canvas on the floor so he could walk around it and approach it from every angle. His signature drip technique is exemplified by his artwork Number 5. Using hardened brushes, sticks, and other tools, Pollock dripped, poured, and flung household enamel paint onto a fiberboard panel, weaving an incredible web of color and line. It is pure, raw energy, a dance recorded on a board. There is no center and no image, only a record of his own creation. Pollock famously said, "On the floor I am more at ease. I feel nearer, more a part of the painting." For him, the art was the action of painting. Gabriele Münter was a central figure in German Expressionism and a founding member of the Blue Rider group alongside Kandinsky and Mark. She developed a distinctive style defined by simplified forms, bold, dark outlines, and flat areas of luminous color. Her approach was deeply influenced by Bavarian folk art, especially reverse glass painting, which she discovered while living in the town of Murnau. This was where she and her colleagues developed the colorful and spiritual language of their movement, with Münter herself pushing the aesthetic forward. The painting Boating shows this development. The scene is radically simplified, reducing the figures in a rowboat, the water, and the shore into their essential shapes and distinct colors. The deep blue water, the bright yellow boat, and the strong black outlines create an image that is an emotional and spiritual impression of a moment rather than a literal copy of reality. Minta's genius was her ability to use color to convey a scene's inner feeling instead of simply describing its appearance. While Pollock was about chaotic gestures, Mark Rothko took abstraction in a much quieter direction. Hedge was a key figure in the color field movement. Rothko wanted art to be a deep, almost religious experience. He eliminated images and gestures to focus on what he saw as the most direct path to human emotion: pure color. He created huge canvases with soft, shimmering rectangles of color that seemed to float in space. Number 61, Rust and Blue, is a perfect example of his power. The massive canvas surrounds you, and the tension between the deep, somber rust and the glowing blue creates a powerful emotional chord. Rothko intended for people to feel his paintings, not just look at them. He told people to stand up close, about 18 inches away, to become totally lost in the color and have a direct personal experience. His goal was to express basic human emotions: tragedy, ecstasy, doom, and people would often stand in front of his paintings and weep, completely overwhelmed by their silent spiritual power. Our final artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat, appeared on the New York art scene in the early 1980s, bringing the raw energy of the street into the gallery. His work is a powerful mix of expressionist gestures and raw images, text, and symbols. Basquiat created a new language to address major issues like racism, identity, and power. His painting, Untitled Skull, is a raw X-ray-like look at a human head. The painting is a chaotic arrangement of color and frantic lines, showing the inside and outside of the skull at the same time. It is part self-portrait, part social commentary, and part meditation on death. The skull is a constant theme in his work, referencing his own black identity and the history of African masks. It is a tense, energetic, and powerful end to our examination, showing how the language of expressionist art was continually reinvented to talk about the urgent issues of a new generation. These 9 artists accomplished something far greater than making decorative objects. They dismantled the old definitions of art and constructed a new visual world. They showed that a distorted figure could reveal a hidden truth, that a drip of paint could contain immense energy, and that a block of color could move a viewer to tears. They invented a language for the soul, proving that the deepest truths are often the ones we cannot see, but have to feel. If you enjoyed this overview of art history, don't forget to subscribe for more stories behind the world's greatest art. Thanks for watching.